this ball game. Officials today: Tony Henderson, Jeffrey Heater, and Jeff Pond. BC in the visiting red controls the opening tip. Last time out, Eagles on Wednesday came back from 19 down to beat Miami. Deion Brown, who missed that shot, only played 6 minutes in that game, hampered by an illness. Starting lineups for Georgia Tech: Nate George, who has the ball, second in the ACC in assists. That's Lance Terry, the team's leading scorer, and he knocks down a triple by Dongo. Athletic big, down low. He fouled out of the game on Tuesday, and that allowed Notre Dame to make a little run in the second half when he got in foul trouble. Starting lineups for Boston College: Joshua Beadle had 13 last time out. There's a three. It is Elijah Strong, who's played well in conference play. You got Chad Venning, the big guy in the middle, the transfer from St. Bonaventure. Now the freshman, Jaden Mustaf. His fall away not there, and a rebound by Brown. It's something we're going to see. The BC guards crash the boards almost better than some of the bigs, and high-low action to Strong.
You got to love that. Get a clean rebound, get it to the other end before that Georgia Tech defense can really set itself. Find your guy down there on that block. Easy opportunity for two. Coach Stoudemire real concerned about keeping Boston College out of the interior.
Out of bounds, last touch BC. Georgia Tech, in its win on New Year's Eve against Notre Dame, played what Damon Stoudemire called their best first half of the season, arguably their best half in the Damon Stoudemire era.
You gotta love that, right? So you got your team fired up. He's a fiery coach. We got a chance to watch practice yesterday. A lot of intensity in practice.
Donald Hand Jr. misfires. He is the reigning ACC Player of the Week. Terry, the reverse layup. So Terry with all 5 for Georgia Tech. Strong, all 5 for BC.
Well, last night we were worried about Terry because he left practice. He got nicked up a little bit, didn't come back to the practice court, but seems no problem. He's off to a quick start.
John Brown to the tin, the transfer from UMBC, where he averaged 19 a game last year.
Well, that's going to be a focus tonight for BC. Taking the ball to the rack. Already we've seen 4 points inside the painted area.
George the maestro off the pick and roll. Dongo down low for 2. Boy, did those two really make an impact as freshmen last year. Still kind of waiting on Dongo to take that next big step up as a sophomore.
Yeah, Dongo, this is one of these guys when he gets it going. He's got 3 triple-doubles on the season. He's 4th in the ACC in field goal percentage. He's shooting 60% in the 3 ACC games, so he looks to get a high percentage shot.
Deposit slip for Donald Hand. We told you, reigning ACC Player of the Week at 29 last Saturday against FDU. He and his dad, who started at Virginia, the first father-son duo to win Player of the Week honors in the ACC, and that is Hand beating Georgia Tech in transition.
That quick transition, right? Get that basketball, one pass, and from one side of the floor to the other, and that's their 3rd layup. And Coach Stoudemire not real happy with the effort from his starters. He's bringing 2 guys in off this bench, trying to shut off that interior.
Soiree and McCollum getting ready to check in. Dongo with a height advantage. Little dipsy-do underneath Joshua Beadle.
I don't understand because I think Boston College was confused as well. Looked like Dongo changed his pivot foot and just walked himself right into an easy 2 points.
Walked himself into it.
You see what I did there?
Yeah. Here's Venning. Big body down low, guarded by Ryan Mutombo, Dikembe's son. He went to the sky hook. Mutombo gets the rebound back.
Well, this is what you want, right? Get that basketball off a transition, whether you get a rebound or a steal, and get it to the other end. And then big fella down low, Dongo working out underneath.
Now taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
Here we go. They're following us.
This is awesome.
Giddy up.
The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
A year ago on this very floor, BC rallied from 16 down to knock off Georgia Tech 95-87. It's been a competitive rivalry. 3 of the last 8 meetings have gone to overtime. Eagles in the game last year shot 67% from the field in the second half. David Stoudemire picked up a big technical foul. Words exchanged after the game. And for Earl Grant, the BC head coach, his 5 starters from that game a year ago, gone. Quentin Post, now with the Golden State Warriors, his second-round pick. The other 4 all transferred.
Yeah, we had a great opportunity to talk to Coach Grant prior to the game tonight, and I'm not surprised that even with all the new faces that his team is off to a strong start this year, the record in the positive plus 500, he's just a motivator. I just got goosebumps listening to him sit here and with this little tableside chalk we did.
He mentioned to us how, as the head coach, you've got to rethink the business model, how to build a team, how to construct a team. Earl Grant never dealt with this kind of roster turnover in the past. Last year, BC returned a ton as JV McCollum knocks down the 3, coming off a 21-point game. And you saw the dividends for BC a year ago. They won 20 games, competitive in the ACC. And the new age of college basketball, that doesn't guarantee that you have roster continuity one year to the next.
Then he got himself in a bad way along that baseline. Tried to force a pass that was intercepted.
Dongo, size advantage here on Dion Brown. George averaging more than 6 assists. Let's see if Dongo goes at Beetle. Brown tried to help. Too strong on the hook. And both bodies crashing to the ground. We get a foul.
Yeah, that was a nice move by Dongo. I love that one dribble middle, comeback baseline, left shoulder turn to your right hand. Look, he's probably shot that time 10,000 times or more. Gets a clean look at it here, but when he missed it, then he gets a little too aggressive and comes right over the top of the defender.
It's still early, but you almost get the sense BC is daring Dongo down low with some of these matchups.
Yeah, they're going to want to see if he can operate, right? Like, they don't want to leave those three-point shooters open on that perimeter. They're going to make sure that Dongo has to try to beat them from inside.
Strong misfires from deep. There's the lob and the finish by Ibrahim Soiree, the redshirt freshman.
Well, yesterday, Coach Stoudemire was on that young man, imploring him to rebound, and I love the fact that he's coachable, comes out tonight with a good attitude. Just look at this. There's no better play in basketball than the high handoff. Get your team going, get the crowd going.
Shot clock issue. David Stoudemire, somebody that was your contemporary in the NBA for a long time.
Yeah, I love Coach Stoudemire. Phil Jackson used to have me try to corral him coming off pick and rolls, and they called him Mighty Mouse because he'd go by me in the blink of an eye, and I wonder what happened. But I love the fact that Coach Stoudemire is working with these young men here at the college level, getting an opportunity to shape them, and not only as players, but as men.
What was it about him when you played against him where you said this guy could be a head coach one day?
Just smart, real intelligent, high basketball IQ, love to compete, all the things that you kind of look for in a coach.
He is in his second season at Georgia Tech, 21 and 25. He's had to deal with some injuries this year. Kwesi Reeves, one of their starting guards, has now missed 9 straight games with an ankle injury. Luke O'Brien, who they use for front court depth, has now missed 4 straight games with a foot injury. And Dorian Onwuchekwa has now missed 5 straight games due to personal reasons. He had started 8 straight games prior.
Yeah, and in talking earlier with assistant coach Bonzi Wells, who was also in the league with me, he said it's an opportunity for some young guys to step up, no different than the pros. The starter goes down or gets in foul trouble and has to come out, you got to rely on your bench. Some great opportunities for these other players on Georgia Tech to show what they can do.
Officials straightening out both the game clock and the shot clock, so they've reset the game clock to 14:03. Shot clock at 27. Both, if you could hear Terry Henderson through our mics, both stop moving. Joshua Beadle, grad transfer from Clemson, came to BC with 2 years of eligibility, brings some ACC experience. There's Fred Payne, 5 in red, and almost turned it over. Payne got the start against Miami. Played maybe the best game of his career, 15 points, career high, 6 rebounds in a season high 32 minutes with Deion Brown ailing with a sickness. Beadle off the shot fake. Lefty floater, teardrop, good.
How about that along the baseline with 2 defenders? He just froze them. He looked like he was going to throw the ball back out the top after he got stopped, and then just put up that little lefty floater, found nothing but cotton.
Numbers for the Eagles. Payne blocked at the rim. Batted around, now Georgia Tech wants to push.
Oh, the young freshman making a difference, got the dunk, and he gets 2 blocks.
BC able to get back. Dongo blocked at the rim. Chased down by Venning. Strong the other way, draws the contact.
I love it. You know, when the bigs get out there and say, you shall not pass, get on that backboard and swat those shots away. 1-on-1 in, and then going back the other way. Venning comes back and he blocks one. So, yeah, we're going to see both teams out here playing some good, hard defense, not allowing any easy opportunities. And it's fast and it's furious, and that's what ACC basketball is supposed to be about.
You felt it over the last week, the intensity in some of these conference games starting to pick up. You don't have directional state on your schedule anymore.
I'm not sure where that school's located, but I understand what you're getting right. You're not getting that in cupcakes, so now all of a sudden the competition rises.
Duncan Powell checks in for Georgia Tech. He had a career-high 21 in Tuesday's win against Notre Dame. 3 3-pointers. Transfer from Sacramento State after starting his career at North Carolina A&T.
Nice young player, about 1,100 career points. So he likes to put that ball in the basket. He works specifically with Bonzi Wells on getting shots, not afraid to call Coach Wells at 8 o'clock at night and say, hey, Coach, we go get some shots up.
McCollum off the bounce, over the trees.
How about that drive? Young man not afraid to take it in there, like you say, amongst the trees and just throw that little floater right over the top of the defense.
Strong, the runner. There's Powell with his first rebound.
Wasted no time getting into the action. This young man, no better way to get yourself going for all you young ballers out there. Do something on the defensive end, and then your offense will come.
Powell, the corner 3. I was about to say, should George have shot the layup? Instead, he finds Powell for 3.
Well, Powell's the three-point specialist out of the corner, so they have been almost conditioned to look for him along that baseline.
Tough runner by Payne. Here comes McCollum.
Georgia Tech putting some back-to-back stops together.
Tech sizzling from the field to 67% in the first half. 10 points off the bench. Remember, on Tuesday, both McCollum and Powell had 20-plus off the bench. Soiree seeing some more minutes of late. Mustaf with the shot clock winding down, the reverse layup.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you what, if they're not beating them over the head from the outside, corner threes are attacking the basket.
Mustaf, good-looking freshman. He can fill up a stat sheet last 5 games, averaging about 10 and 5. Strong off the shot fake. Over Powell, yes.
Strong has shown the ability to get down there below the free throw line where he likes to operate. Boston College desperate and needed a basket, and Strong delivered.
A timeout with 10:55 to go by Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets 9 of 13 from the field.
Here we go. They're following us.
This is awesome.
Giddy up.
The first ever Nissan Rogue Rock Creek.
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
Well, Nate George is doing his darn thing. 6'3" with the best hair on the floor. He is out here distributing the basketball. He is second in the ACC assists with 6.1 per game. He's fifth in assist to turnover ratio, 2.74 to 1. And he's dished out 6+ assists in 8 games. He's already got 6 tonight. Has he not learned a little something under Damon Stoudemire or what?
He has really come along. Last year, they kind of worked him in slowly in the beginning, and then the training wheels came off. He was the first freshman with 100+ assists for Georgia Tech last year since Amon Shumpert back in the 08-09 season. And his next step is going to be consistency with the shot to keep defenses honest.
Well, it's a progression, right? So point guard's first main responsibility, get his teammates involved, and he's done that tonight. One of the reasons why Georgia Tech is shooting 69% in this game and 75% from the line. Well, the three-point line. That won't make Coach Stoudemire real happy. You get that timeout, you draw something up, and then your team turns it over.
And the foul is on Mustaf, away from the ball. Chaz Kelly, the long three. And the rebound snatched away by Mutombo.
Look at that box out by Mutombo. Like I said, yesterday in practice, 30-minute box out drill, and it's paying off.
How about McCollum, Sports Center, top 10.
I love this young man right here. Got a chance to listen to him be a leader in the floor on practice yesterday, encouraging his teammates, coaching everybody else up on that defensive end, and then he comes out, calls his own number, drives one to the rack.
A little show and tell. Here's a three, and it's good by Roger McFarland. 15 a game at Southeastern Louisiana last year. Both teams shooting it well in the first half. Georgia Tech at 71%. Powell has it poked away. Loose ball, battle. Terry had it.
Anish, I absolutely love when players don't reach for a loose ball, but are willing to dive for it. Skin their elbow, skin their knee to try to get the ball back for their mates.
Making a foul on Chaz Kelly. Second team foul on BC.
Coach Grant can't believe it. How are you going to call a foul on that?
He wanted a jump ball. Powell loves that corner three. That's his second.
2 for 2 right now. Teammates doing a nice job finding him in that corner. He takes that ball and cocks it way up over that headband. Not quite the traditional three-point looking shot, but he finds it, finds a way to get that thing in the basket.
Strong launches. McCollum's been everywhere.
Yeah, this is fun to watch. The hard work they put in boxing out yesterday. They're rebounding really nicely.
Hastings, talented redshirt freshman, oozes potential. 22 in red. Kelly, and that one flushes in.
Well, he did a nice job. He got the defense on his back and was able to keep him, and then attack the big that had to step up to try to help. That was a really nice use of the left hand on the glass.
McCollum fouled on the drive. He's getting what he wants when he wants it right now.
He is ultra quick. I don't know too many people in the ACC who can stay in front of him when he is determined to get to the basket.
Second foul on Chaz Kelly as Joshua Beadle gets ready to check in.
Beat. Look at the way he just cradled that ball in the left hand to keep it away from the defender that might be trying to wipe it away.
McCollum last year was Oklahoma's leading scorer. Started his career at Siena. Tomorrow, after our top 20 women's basketball doubleheader, we'll have an AAC men's matchup between the top teams in the conference. It is Memphis, ranked in the top 25, hosting the Queen of North Texas. Penny Hardaway's done a nice job with the Memphis Tigers. McCollum gets the free throw, terrific free throw shooter. Career 90%, Georgia Tech by 6. Deion Brown. Tough shot over Terry. Almost looked like he was caught in between, but he's out of bounds.
Well, the defense of Georgia Tech has been impressive. For the most part, they've kept Boston College on the outside, and they've rebounded the basketball pretty cleanly. So this goes back to something that Coach Grant said when we were talking to him earlier. Hard work works. And Georgia Tech put in that hard work in practice yesterday. We're seeing it here in the first half.
McCollum catch, release, grazes the rim. Rebound Beadle. McFarland eyes Terry. Strong backing down Powell. Turns, fades. Old school shot. We put pretty good ball handlers for Georgia Tech on the floor. George, Terry, and McCollum. Shot clock down to 5. McCollum turns and hits.
Well, the big fella, Chad Vanning, played about as good defense as he possibly could on the much smaller offensive player, but just a wonderful move to create some space by spinning back away from the basket.
11 points now for Javian McCollum. McFarland puts it home over a double team. He's got 5.
Well, it seems as though when Boston College needs a big bucket, they're getting one. Just when Georgia Tech trying to get that triple 3-possession separation, Boston College comes back with a big basket.
How about the ball movement? It started with the screen and roll and the extra pass by Dongo.
I love the high-low pass between the bigs there. Usually the bounce pass, keeping the ball away from the hands and the arms of the defenders.
George doesn't get an assist there, but that's the old hockey assist.
Used to track that at North Carolina. Coach Smith would track that on the big board. You get plus points for those hockey assists, as you call them.
Get you out of laps.
Yeah, much needed.
Terry, wide open. Hockey assist again.
Yeah, you got
for Nate George.
Love the way Georgia Tech is sharing the basketball here in the early part of this game. Goes down low below the free throw line, shrinks the defense. Everybody crashes below the free throw line. Kick it back out to the shooter. Love this right here. McCollum doing a fantastic job. He goes behind the back bucket here. Off to a great start with 11 points.
We asked AI to make a commercial that would make you laugh. AI can give us funny ideas for commercials. What it can't do is protect you if you've been hurt by a truck. If you've been hurt by a truck, you still need Columbo Law.
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18 when you switch to TurboTax Do It Yourself.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well. Some might say perfect. Who's ready to show who's the cheesiest?
I woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach! Cheez-It, official sponsor of the college football playoff.
Here's your coffee.
Oh, best intern ever.
Oh, nice. You use Fiverr. Working on anything big?
Oh, yeah. Growth strategy.
Maybe I can help.
Yes. Can I get some oat milk?
Sometimes great talent is right under your nose.
Manish Robb, Scott Williams, Georgia Tech with its largest lead in the game. And J.B. McCollum had a 4-game stretch where he didn't play with a concussion, came back, only 14 points in his first 3 games back. Well, he's found his sea legs. Against Alabama A&M last weekend, he had 18 points, pretty much all in the first half. 21 Tuesday against Notre Dame. 11 today in the first half. He's been the best player on the floor.
Yeah, plus 13 when he's on the floor, and he's 4 or 5 from the field for those 11 points, right? Knocked in a triple as well, going along with 3 rebounds. So comes in and has been a lot of energy, doing a lot of the positive things. You were saying that this might be the best half of basketball Georgia Tech has played. We still got nearly 6 minutes to go.
And Damon Stoudemire felt their best half of basketball prior to today came on Tuesday. You might be starting to see a Georgia Tech team that has changed the narrative of its season and the arrows pointing in an upward trajectory. Before their win against Notre Dame on Tuesday, Georgia Tech hadn't beaten a power conference team.
Yeah, new year, new beginnings, right? And Boston College coach Grant just shaking his head after coming out of that timeout and turning the basketball over, right over the top of the offensive player, but they come back on defense and get a deflection. So they're down by 11. They got to get a stop here. They do not want to lose touch with Tech going to the locker room at hand.
Now remember last year BC rallied from 16 down on the road to beat Georgia Tech. And on Wednesday they rallied from 19 down to beat Miami. Second chance opportunity for Georgia Tech. Big point of emphasis in practice yesterday.
Yep, rebound that basketball, not only on the defensive end, on the offensive end as well. Look at the big fella down there operating.
Trying to use his size advantage. Basket does not count. But he's able to draw the foul on the freshman Luka Taves.
You gotta love the use of the pump fake. A lot of young bigs, when they get that ball in that paint, they want to hurry. But just that little use of the pump fake got the defender to bite and then got the whistle.
Is that something that you have to learn as a big, when to use that, when to deploy that?
Yes, and look at this drive right down the right. Ooh, nice dish, back to move stop in the middle for a bucket. Really seeing the extra pass out of the Tech players today. It's a thing of beauty to watch. But yes, going back to that, you got to learn that how long you have to operate down there. When to use the head and shoulder fake, and then when to just go up quick and strong with power.
Here comes Taves. He's probably the closest to what BC has to a true point guard, and they step down the sideline. Third, maybe 4th turnover now for Boston College.
Nothing drives me crazy more than that, watching team get a hard stop or needs to get a bucket, and your wing player steps on the sideline. I played in Philadelphia with former Tar Heel Jerry Stackhouse, and he was good for doing that about once a week. I say, when I'm down here battling, trying to get these rebounds, I throw it up to you and you step on the sideline, we're going to start fighting in this locker room. You can't take care and value the basketball a little bit better. So right now, Boston College losing touch, got to value the basketball, can't keep turning it over.
George, slippery inside, could not finish. Taves has earned extended playing time. Earl Grant felt he gave them some really good minutes in the comeback against Miami. Venning on the follow. He's been a non-factor so far, and we'll get a foul on the floor against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Big Vinny tried to go inside, but was not able to get that to go. But if they start attacking inside, getting themselves to the free throw line, they claw back into this thing. Look at one more time. Two big bodies banging into each other in the paint. Vinny down here, it's trying hard, gets the offensive glass. He rushed that one just a little bit too much, and it squirted out of his hand.
4:25 to go first half. Dongo to the bench with 2 fouls. On Tuesday, Notre Dame started to come back in the second half when Dongo got into foul trouble. Taves wants help. Here's Hand, BC's leading scorer. Over Terry, too strong. And that'll be an over the back on Elijah Strong, his second foul.
Yeah, that's going to be the 5th team foul on Boston College. So it'll be baseline out of bounds for Georgia Tech. With a 13-point lead right now, Georgia Tech is really having their way with Boston College. They're mixing up doing a nice job mixing up the inside attack and the perimeter attack. They are shooting 65% here in this first half.
5 of 8 from 3. George has been the maestro, 6 assists. And even when he doesn't get credited with the assist, he seems to be in the middle of it. Powell with his 3rd 3 of the half on the heels of a career night on Tuesday.
And Powell had a defender in his face and said, I don't care. I got my stroke working from the outside. I love this left side of the floor. Let me stroke my 3rd 3 from right over here on the left.
How about the bench production? McCollum with 11, Powell with 11. Roger McFarland, it's not there. Rebound pulled down by Soiree. Terry, jump stop, turns. Tipped into the air, it comes to Hand. Almost 7.5 rebounds. That one is knocked out of bounds by George.
Well, be quick, but don't hurry. Hand was in a bit of a hurry that time, wasn't able to finish that fast break.
3:14 to go, Georgia Tech trending upwards. Another big first half against BC.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and get access to over 1,300 airport lounges. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Now this is Taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
In case we haven't met, I'm Dino Colombo. I represent people hurt by a truck. It's what we do every day. We answer the question, why did this terrible collision happen? Hurt by a truck? Call Colombo Law.
Team, it's been a grind, but I think I've aged you well. Some might say perfect. Who's ready to show 'em who's the cheesiest?
I woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach. Cheez-It, official sponsor of the college football playoff.
There we go, touchdown! The Irish have done it. Buckeyes on fire! What an all-time classic!
The college football playoff semifinals begin Thursday and continue Friday.
How about the fact that all 4 of the teams that received byes into the quarterfinals all lost, so you're down to 4, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, and Notre Dame. Meanwhile, Georgia Tech, their last 2 first halves. If you're Damon Stoudemire, you can't ask for anything more.
Yeah, it looked absolutely fantastic. He used 43 points, said on Tuesday, 40 with 3 minutes left to go. It's the field goal percentage from each night. I'm so impressed with the way they're sharing the ball, shooting 64% here in this early part of this game.
11 assists on 16 made field goals and only 3 turnovers. And one thing they've done, they've limited BC's second chance opportunities. Venning using that big body and goes right to work on the redshirt freshman Soiree.
Design play right there. We need a high percentage shot. We're going to give it to our 250-pound forward center with all that muscle and let him throw that little left shoulder, right hand hook.
First field goal, first points for Venning, who averages about 12 a game. The lob for Soiree, and they get Venning with a foul. He's in disbelief.
Well, Soiree yesterday, the coaches were kind of riding him. He wasn't getting some of the things done. There was some communication issues. He was trying to put his body on guys to box him out. I was wondering how he would come out here and perform today, and he has responded nicely. Nice job with the pick, hard roll to the basket. They try to hard handoff. He goes up and grabs that thing with two hands. He puts the pressure on the defense to make the call.
We've got a women's college basketball doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. Look at this. Notre Dame, North Carolina. You get to see the great Hannah Hidalgo, and then Oklahoma and Tennessee at 3 p.m. on ESPN2. Second chance try here. George, the lob. Terry went flying and comes down hard. He'll be rewarded.
That kid came down like a sack of potatoes. George tries to throw that thing up there, trying to get his 7th assist. And look where Terry's coming from. He's trying to come up over one of his own players even and crashes down hard on his right side. I fall like that. You guys are going to have to call a stretcher to come get me up off the floor. Thank goodness this young man popped up and is at the line to shoot these free throws.
You played with MJ. That would have been a tough one for him to corral.
Yeah, I don't know if too many guys would have been able to get that one. Even Vince Carter would have had a tough time jumping up and grabbing that. Remember Vince Carter? Man, that was amazing. He used to have those electrifying in-game dunks, as well as slam dunk contests, but some of the things he did in-game were tremendous.
He had coiled springs in his feet.
I'm convinced of that. I don't know how many times I was on the jumper in high school. I never jumped like that.
Tell you what, Chad Venning, he's going to be the first pick in every YMCA draft for the rest of his life. Old school, low post, big game, huh?
Look at this. Too big, too strong. I'm going to take that long step, put my chest right into your chest, and just bully my way to the basket. Nice concentration to finish, going to the line, looking for the and one.
Fifth year out of Brooklyn originally. Transfer from St. Bonaventure, started at Morgan State. Not much of a rebounder, but on the offensive end, very crafty down low. McCollum's got 11, flows right by Venning, and knew he had Soiree right behind him.
Yeah, Venning's got to come over and help on the dribble drive, and Soiree just does the smart thing. Young big, follow you right to the basket and get the dunk. Oh, they looking at this?
Previous plays under review for offensive basket interference.
Well, they will look at it. So let's see.
Well, the ball's got to clear the cylinder before Soiree grabs it. Let's see if it's over the cylinder. You make the call, Mish.
That's close.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I'm going to say that half of that ball was still over the cylinder. Not very good on predicting what the officials will say, but it looked like it was still over the cylinder.
This might be our best angle.
He gets it, tries to pull it back and then slam it down. I don't think they're going to give him.
The officials are just to the left of us, so we're watching what they're seeing. And
at the end of the day, whether or not they get the 2 points, I like the way this young man really has come into play. Right, so you set that strong pick. Kenny Smith used to tell me that, Scott, the better pick you set, the more your defender is going to have to help. It's going to leave you open to either me to get you the ball or you to get on the glass. And that's what Soiree has learned right here early in his first year.
Now, Scott, so much of it is about opportunity. And you're missing Luke O'Brien. Onwuchekwa, 5 games now, personal reasons. Bit of a mystery as to what his future will be with the program. Reeves is still out. He's got a chance to carve a role in this rotation, especially if he brings energy, which he's done, and especially if he can do it in conference games.
Well, he's got a good attitude, right? And I think that's the most important thing when you're a young player trying to find your way your freshman year, or even, like for me, my rookie year in the NBA. Things don't normally just be given to you right away. You got guys making more money, guys have been in the program, they understand the system a little bit better, they got the confidence of the coaching staff. You have to take some time to develop that. And then once you get that, sky's the limit.
So they just waved off the basket.
Call the floor stands, no basket.
Yeah, it's close, but I think too much of the ball was still in the cylinder. And you'd like to see the young man be rewarded for his efforts, but there's plenty more opportunity to get on that offensive side.
And you bring up a great point. Take the play out of it and just look at, again, the effort from Soiree. When you broke into the NBA, you were stepping into a team that was ready to go win championships with the Chicago Bulls. You had to do, I would imagine, some of those things. Bring energy, bring toughness, defense, the little things to carve out a role and carve out minutes.
100%. And I had some good vets that taught me that right away. Look at Benning inside. He gets whistled for the travel. So another turnover here in the first half for BC right around the basket. Won't make Coach Grant real happy. That scout, he's intense, man. We got a chance to talk to him. Like I said, he loves it. He's got a positive attitude. And he believes in hard work. He said he had a father who worked in a paper mill for 30 years, and hard work. Right now his team's getting outworked, though. Getting too many shots at that rim.
Now Soiree still flying. Payne wide open and connects. 42% from three.
That'll put a smile on Coach's face right there, because they got that rebound clearly, and they got it to the other end on a wide open look for triple. I don't mind the wide open looks. It's when the players come down, like when they don't have numbers and jack something up, and it just gets clanks off the rim. That was a nice execution of your fast break.
George green lights the three. 44-31.
Now, just when BC gets a triple to kind of carve into that large deficit, right comes back Georgia Tech with their, what is that, their 7th triple here in the first half?
7 out of 10. There's Soiree again, creating havoc underneath. George, defended by Taves. Terry needs help. Shot clock at 10. McCollum, step back. Rebound Venning. BC can hold for one. Luka Taves, the freshman, born in Tokyo, Japan, where his dad is a longtime basketball coach. And we get a foul on Lance Terry, his first.
Yeah, they had one to give, side out of bounds, so we're going to make them operate with a short game clock here, just 5.1 to shoot.
Donald Hand Jr. will inbound. Here comes Taves. Has to put it up. And that's how the first half ends.
Will you throw some zone defense at him? He may have to in the second half if they keep shooting the lights out like this.
BC will need more from its top two scorers, Donald Hand and Chad Venning. Just 4 points apiece in that opening half.
Yeah, those guys, between the two of them, they average 27 a game, so they got to pick it up.
Both teams have their original starting five out there. Here's Ryan Mutombo, son of the Hall of Famer Dikembe Mutombo, the late Hall of Famer.
Look at this long distance three right here. Oh my goodness, little confusion on the screen situation. You cannot leave a shooter wide open. That's the spark BC needs. They have been able to claw back in the games by shooting threes in the second half.
Beadle gets it started. Clemson transfer who sat behind Chase Hunter and Joe Girard on a Sweet 16 team last year. George, the lob, Dongo, count it.
I am getting my first look at George, and he is impressive the way he comes off screens and then finds his bigs for the high handoff. Gotta love this right here. Oh, this right here, that's just miscommunication. You cannot go underneath the screen. Big Vinny cleared out that guard and then come back the other way. Nice job just making yourself available, using your length around the basket, and then you use the glass. You soften your shot, you give yourself that extra tick to find the glass, and Dongo just lays it off the board. So all you young bigs out there, use that glass. It's your friend.
Three-point play is good, so Georgia Tech counters the Beetle three the old-fashioned way. Knocked away. Terry throws down.
Wow! Down that right lane, right wing like a lightning bolt, and I love the way he put that thing in that right hand with the Statue of Liberty jam.
11 for Lance Terry. Benning from 18, yes.
Well, we talked about Benning in hand having to start cooking here. Benning comes back with a big jumper from the free throw line. Maybe that'll be the one that gets him going. And then you get an offensive foul the other way. In Dongo, I don't believe got set on that screen. That's going to be number 3.
He fouled out in the Notre Dame game. Only played 20 minutes.
See that look on Coach Stoudemire's face there, just knowing that, hey, it's a combination. Guard's got to let the big get set, and the big's got to hurry up and get to position to set that screen.
And with Dongo, too, again, he's so valuable on the floor. If he's going to pick up a foul, you want him to commit a hard foul. You don't want to pick up those ticky-tack fouls.
Yeah, especially not the ones that lead to turnovers.
And over to Strong. That's a tough turnaround, left it short. Mutombo another rebound. Terry down low against Hand. And the foul on Hand, his first.
Well, you know, Terry in that first half, he had himself 9 points and just under 18 minutes of action, but he wasn't the Terry we're used to seeing, right? Like he now in the second half, putting pressure on the defense along that baseline, realizing I got to get myself going here in the second half early, and then he gets that foul call opportunity to go to the free throw line. He was unable to get that first one, but there's no better place to be in that free throw line. And then look at who they're bringing off the bench here. Mr. Energy, 11 points in that first half. Duncan Powell coming in this game early.
The Shag Man, as he's called.
Yeah, he's got a tattoo on his leg that says Shag Man.
Did you ever give any thought to adopting that style?
No, sir.
No.
Well, listen, I'm jealous of any hair on these players that they got at my advanced age. I can't grow hair for nothing on my head.
There's Venning. No. A follow by Strong. Mutombo had it, fell down. Here comes Mustaf.
Missed opportunity for Boston College to get some second chance points. Had the shot point blank range. Strong not able to get it to go.
Freshman against Venning. Beetle on Terry. Terry gets underneath and a chance for 3.
Terry's just putting his head down. He's decided in his first 3 minutes of this second half that I am putting my head down, going to the basket. I don't care who or what is in front of me. I like that one right there. And then look, you can just see, just getting the defender off balance there, taking his time, getting to the outside frame of his body and getting that contact. You get a whistle every time.
Lance Terry redshirted last year, didn't play, had a leg injury. And he could have come back, but wanted the extra year of eligibility, wanted to play for this team and for Damon Stoudemire, and that's why he took the red shirt. He has been this team's leading scorer through the first 14 games.
Yeah, up to 14 points now. And we talk about all the things that this young man can do on the floor. Look at that left shoulder turn. I'm surprised. They really lowered a boom right into Terry's chest. He wanted the offensive foul, but this has been letting him play for the most part. You know, a lot of that physicality around the basket, you know, the player with the ball being able to bang the defender. One more time, look at this, just like that. Move him right up out of his spot. The first time, then come back in, trying to get yourself going. He wanted a trip to the line. Said, hey, you're going to come down here and punish us inside. I'm going to do the same thing to you on the other end.
Yeah, Lance Terry went right after Donald Hand and The 6'5" hand repays the favor. He really emerged, Hand did, over the last 10 games of last season. It's been a springboard into this season where he's been one of the breakout stars in the ACC. He was their top returning scorer from last year's team. Only averaged 5 a game, up to almost 15.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll say a player, hey, if you give me more minutes, I'll be able to give you more production. But Hand is one of those guys that say, I'm not going to double my production, I have tripled my production. So, wonderful job by him. Any rebounds the ball, which I love when stars come back and get on the glass.
Is there a player that hasn't said that?
No. We all want more minutes, baby.
Terry using the jump stop. All right, Terry and Hand. A little back and forth here.
It really is. It's whatever you do, I'm going to do it the other end. So let's see if Hand comes back at Terry a second time.
Here comes Hand over Terry. Doesn't get the roll. Offensive rebound strong. I don't know if we were going to have to pull up Dominique and Larry footage because we are in Atlanta.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it, watching those guys operate. But how about the second chance opportunities now? Once they got to the offensive glass, they get it. They weren't able to get it to go. Strong once again goes in there, chews some glass, and now he's got to earn himself a trip to the line. Now you got to calm yourself down. Down 16, you got to get both of these free throws. You don't want Georgia Tech plus this thing out to a 20-point advantage.
Strong had a big hand in the comeback against Miami. 11 points all in the second half on Wednesday. Sophomore from Myers Park High School in Charlotte. Big game earlier this year against Temple. Went for 25 and 13. And he's been in double figures in every ACC game for BC. All 3 make it almost all 4. He's at 9 right now.
Yeah.
Missed them both.
71% free throw shooter, and I was just talking how they need to get those points. They got to capitalize on those little second chance opportunities around the basket, and of course from the free throw line. Bucket here puts BC in a bad way.
George again using that screen from Soiree.
Well, Soiree is doing his job. And he's not going to get a lot of credit in the box score for it, but he has been setting up his teammates with some really man-sized picks on the offensive end.
Benning comes out to set the high screen. Beadle doesn't want it. Goes to the rim, gets blocked. Loose ball, Venning on the floor, and we'll get a held ball.
Another block shot by Soiree. It says, "You shall not pass." Swatted that thing nearly through the backboard. Lance Terry, though, how about this young man's effort here in the second half? He's been man on fire. He's getting the steal and taking it hard, thundering it through the basket.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. And get access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
Vinny Schroff, Scott Williams. Only one ACC team in the AP Top 25 to begin the new year. Non-conference, it was an unmitigated disaster for the league, and you saw the Tony Bennett retirement right before the season. Jim Larinaga in season. There has been an exodus of coaching powers leave this league really in the last 10 years. And when you look at this conference as a whole, we're getting ready to dive into conference play. What's done is done in non-conference. Duke, far and away, is the class of the league. Clemson appears to be the clear number 2, and then SMU, Pitt. I'd put Carolina kind of in that next tier of teams. After that, you just get the sense anybody on their best day can knock off anybody else 6 through 18.
Yeah, ACC's really got to pick it up. Well, you say new year, new beginnings. Maybe they can get something going, but You're right. Right now, then you just wonder about them beating each other up, and that being an issue. Trying to get more teams in the top 25, more teams in the tournament. SEC, far and away the best conference in basketball. I don't think in my 35 years I ever would have thought a predominantly football program would be considered the best basketball conference in the country. But with 10 teams in the top 25, they are flat out getting it done.
Yeah, and again, they took care of business in non-conference, which helps the league in March. And what the ACC is going to be up against, Georgia Tech could be a great example. Let's say Georgia Tech is righted the ship and the pieces start to fit, and they go on a little run in conference play. They didn't have a single power conference win until beating Notre Dame on Tuesday. So Georgia Tech could be a vastly improved team. They could start knocking off teams. You don't get credit for losing to Georgia Tech. In fact, it hurts your resume, can hurt your resume badly come Selection Sunday.
No, great point.
There's Powell looking for his 4-3. The rebound pulled down by Payne. Strong, too strong. Offensive rebound, Venning, and BC is closed to 15.
Yeah, get a couple free throws, get an opportunity on a second chance point. Big Venning down there, flexing his muscles, using that beef around the basket. 255 pounds. He's got to be closer to 270, if you ask me.
I got him at 270. How about McCollum? No one has been able to stay in front of McCollum today.
He's too fast. I don't think there's a guy in the ACC defensively that can stop him when he wants to put his head down and he's determined to get to the basket.
Payne, really good with the three. Soiree, a rebound.
Hey, Soiree's doing his job. Blocking shots, grabbing boards. Hey, I'm a big guy. I'm going to point out when these big guys do all the dirty things to help their teams get a victory.
Went up top to set a screen for Terry. Doesn't want it. Terry on the drive. And out of the tangle.
Well, just 41 points. We're under the 15-minute mark here, towards the 14-minute mark of the second half. Boston College hasn't been a consistent scorer. They haven't got one guy that can consistently get him a bucket. Meaning trying right now. And he gets thrust away by Soiree once again.
He's brought energy off the bench, Soiree, even though it hasn't been with the scoring. 4 blocks for Georgia Tech. George has 7 assists, launches, doesn't hit. Now Hand. He's going 1-on-3. We're going to get a foul.
Yeah, little out of control that time. Saw the defender, tried to knife through and get to the side of his body, but Hand has kind of been discombobulated tonight. He hasn't got himself into a good, smooth rhythm. Doesn't know if he's going to shoot the jumper, doesn't know if he's going to get the job. Just trucks right through Terry. And officials, easy call for the officials. The turnovers, the missed free throws, some of the things that are hampering Boston College, trying to come back from to get one of those large victories from a large deficit. So they got to do a better job getting stops, cutting out the middle, and then capitalizing on the offensive end. But just too many turnovers here in this basketball game.
They were down 19 and came back against Miami. It was their largest home comeback in school history. This will stay with Georgia Tech. They've been down by as many as 18 today, but Georgia Tech hasn't let up. 61% from the field in the first half, 6 of 10 from the field in the second half.
Well, they're getting good looks. And it's the bigs setting guys up. Look at that side out of bounds play. Easy opportunity. No one there to protect the basket. Miscommunication. They get another high percentage shot.
Largest lead of the game for Georgia Tech. Another block, that time Dongo. Mustaf. Offensive rebound. Dongo draws the foul.
I like what I'm seeing out of this Tech squad. They might have started this season 7-7, but they've won their last 2 games, and they are off to a great start here in 2025. Total team effort on offense and domination on defense.
By Dongo, all ACC freshman team last year. Added about 25 plus pounds in the offseason.
I got another 25 pounds he can have if he wants it.
North Dakota State, Montana State, in the FCS championship game Monday at 7 Eastern on ESPN. North Dakota State, by the way, it is pronounced Bison, not Bison, Bison.
Aren't they always in the championship?
I'm telling you,
Come on, man.
As great as Alabama has been over the last 15 or so years, the best dynasty in FBS and FCS college football has been North Dakota State.
Fun to watch.
The Fargo Dome, I've told people, I've been there.
Have you?
It is a bucket list item if you're a college football fan. Montana State from Bozeman, they are the #1 seed. Hastings with the left hand, no. Strong the follow.
Strong has been doing his job around that glass. In this one, he finally gets one of those second chance points I've been kind of imploring Boston College to try to get back into this game. So staying on balance after he got the rebound and was able to go right back up with it.
Almost a turnover. Shot clock at 10. George, the maestro. Inside to Dongo, sophomore to sophomore.
Dongo was working hard down there. Wasn't the prettiest set, but George, who has just got such good court vision, sees the mismatch underneath and gets it to his big 20-point lead for the Yellow Jackets.
Dongo in double figures for the 5th straight game. 4 Yellow Jackets with at least 10 points.
These Yellow Jackets down here communicating on defense, switching screens, and they get it. They get the foul. It's hard to set a screen on a guy when he's moving at that speed, and Boston College just discombobulated here in this second half.
3rd foul on Strong, and another turnover for BC.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and get access to over 1,300 airport lounges. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Now Taxes is getting the TurboTax app and filing your taxes yourself 100% free if you didn't file with us last year. Pay $0 when you file by 2/18. All tax forms, all 100% free. Now this is taxes. File free in the app by 2/18. When you switch to TurboTax, do it yourself.
In case we haven't met, I'm Dino Colombo. I represent people hurt by a truck. It's what we do every day. We answer the question, why did this terrible collision happen? Hurt by a truck? Call Colombo Law.
Well, when you want to get a win, you do it on the D. Right now, Georgia Tech is having some fantastic defense. 4 blocks in this game to go along with 5 boards. I love the fact that he's just out there causing havoc, setting good screens. I love this rip away by Terry for the Statue of Liberty jam.
3 steals, 5 blocks. They have limited Boston College on the glass, and you know, when you shoot lights out better than 60%, you're going to win most of your games.
Yeah, you look at it, right? They got 24 boards, 21 of those on the defensive, but only 3 on the offensive end. I always get upset when the coaches say, hey, I need you to give me some offensive rebounds. They're like, well, coach, we're not missing. Hard to get a rebound. There ain't no shots coming off.
And for BC to get back into the game, you get the sense it's going to have to start defensively. Too many times, Georgia Tech getting easy looks at the basket. That time we get a foul. It's on Dongo. That's number 4. And you start to think of what's a window to get back into the game. Well, Dongo picking up his 4th foul.
Yeah, that really hadn't hurt them today, though, really. You know, and Dongo's got, that's the second time I think he's gotten whistled for setting one of those illegal screens. You take out Dongo and you come in with a guy who, like I say, only 1 field goal, but has really affected this game. And is the reason why GT's got this 63-43 advantage. So Boston College, they got to attack inside. If not, then they have to start settling for 3s in the final 7 minutes of this game.
Kelly tried the old show and tell. Kick ball stays with BC. Soiree, 6 rebounds off the bench to go along with those 4 blocks. Active hands, Chaz Kelly. Here's Payne coming off a 15-point game. Tough shot, but draws the foul. It is on Soiree.
Soiree has been trying to go after everything that's out there around that low block and closer to the hoop, and he comes in here, and I love he kind of goes high, but you just got to give a lot of credit that the offensive player gets into his body and creates that contact, and that's really what he's wrestled for, because from the waist up, he was pretty clean.
Fred Payne at the free throw line. Entered the game 18 of 21 from the line. Missed most of last year with a torn ACL. It's an 18-point game.
Anish, here we go. Look at DC coming with a little full court pressure here, realizing they got to start creating some turnovers.
Instead, Kelly picks up his third foul, and that puts Georgia Tech in the bonus.
Yeah, and that's the last thing you want, right? So you're coach Grant, you're like, okay, we got our bucket, we got free throws, got a chance to set our 2-2-1, full court press and get a turnover, and then you foul 85 feet away from the basket. Send McCollum to the line. What does he shoot? 89-9 from the free throw line? The best in the ACC? Yeah, we can round that up to 90, can't we?
3 for 3 today. That gets him over 90. He is now 29 of 32 on the season. 94% last year. 90% for his career. So we're not plucking small sample size here.
Right. I'm jealous for like a career 60, sub 70% free throw shooter in my career. He went and stroked those things like he can sleepwalking.
And Scott, he's immune to the announcer jinx too.
That's a real thing.
Kelly working the baseline. Back out to Hand, now Payne. Hand, the three, short. DC getting a ton of easy looks in this game.
They are, and I don't know if it was coming down here, the early starts got a team discombobulated. Sometimes you don't get the full amount of time that you need on a day where you have to travel to have the team properly ready to compete for a noon game when you're getting to the arena at 10 o'clock. It just seems like they've never been able to get into rhythm.
There's Mustaf. Nothing intentional there. That's just a couple of big bodies flying at each other.
Yeah, that's just
You've been there.
Yeah. At the end of the day, when you're getting knocked around like that, you hope you've given as much or maybe even a little more than you've taken over the course of a 35 or however many games these guys are going to play in this season.
You were telling me earlier when you played against Charles Oakley, you would get it. They just didn't call it.
Hey, I still hate Charles Oakley to this day for banging me down low away from the ball. It's one thing to play hard, but the cheap shots of Oakley and Bill Lambier, I never appreciated. Still got the aches and pains from some of those blows. Bill Lambier might be the worst.
He had some helpers on those bad boy Pistons teams. Mahorn, Sally, Rodman.
They were cast of characters for sure, but I wouldn't trade any of it for anything the way they play today. I loved every minute of it. You see me hobble down these stairs this morning. I saw you and I looked. I tried to straighten up after I saw you, but it was too late.
McFarland on the inside.
They needed a bucket in a big way there. And down 19, approaching the 10-minute mark. They had to get something. Now, can they get the stops on the defensive end? Still staying with that man-to-man defense.
At what point do you change to a zone?
Well, yeah, I take that back. They are doing their amoeba zone. So they did change back to a little zone defense, and they got the stop at a clean board. Chance to run.
Instead of turnover.
Oh, Hand lost it. He wanted to make a bounce pass to the right wing, and it slipped out of his mitts.
McCollum, the trailer, hits.
How often do you see that? What should be a 2 the other way comes back the other way after the turnover, and it's a 3 the other way. It's almost like a 5-point swing in a 20-point game. That's devastating.
18 now for the senior from Fort Myers. That 3 doesn't go. Hastings batted it. Hand tried to take the charge, no call, and Mustaf has the 2. It has been all Georgia Tech here early in the new year.
Look at this. You get the turnover, put the ball down on the baseline, shrink the defense, give it back to me, and let me stroke this 3.
And Georgia Tech had a 13-point lead at the break. It has now ballooned to 23. They have not let up off the gas offensively.
No, they're doing it, and they're sharing the basketball. It's been real pretty to watch. Unfortunately, on the other side of things, Boston College, they're just not getting the production from their two stars that average 27 a night, just 15 tonight. So really struggling with this early start time and what Georgia Tech has done to take them out of the offense.
In the half court and settled sets, very few easy shots for Earl Grant's Boston College team. In the second half, they're 5 of 17, 38% for the game. Georgia Tech, 10 of 16 in the second half, 61% for the game.
Yeah, and you know, Boston College is having done to them what they did to Miami in the second half of that game when they came back from those 19 points down. Oh, someone lost their shoe. Got a guy out here playing with his ankle brace on.
It goes through Venning.
He still got the stop. He's going to run over to the signage to grab his sneaker. He's having a little laugh at it.
That was McCollum.
They lost his left sneaker. Gave him the old flat tire trick. We did that on the playground back in the elementary school.
Flat tire trick? What's that?
Well, you step on the back of the guy's heel, so when he lifts his foot up, he comes right out of his sneaker. We called it a flat tire.
What if they were nice sneakers?
And then you fight. Don't step on my J's.
He was shoeless Jave for a moment. Mustaf. Oh, athletic move.
This kid's coming on. Wow. 2 big buckets inside now for Mustaf.
Time ticking away for BC. Beadle, Venning with great position. Kind of twisted that shot up.
He went up soft. He rushed it and he went up soft. You're 255. You need a bucket. That's why you push all those weights in a weight room. You got to go with more power.
Beadle picks up his second foul. When McCollum's got the ball, BC has not been able to stay in front. And you mentioned Mustaf, the freshman, whose dad played in the NBA. Well, he is starting to come along.
Yeah, he really is starting to come along. You love that little drive from the left side of the floor, float up underneath the basket to the right side. Hey, I played with his dad in the NBA. I would play some golf with him this summer, and he'd be proud of the way his son is out here performing this afternoon.
Yeah, his dad, the late Gerard Mustaf, died in October. You think of what Damon Stoudemire has had to be for his team in the early part of the season. Ryan Mutombo loses his dad. Jaden loses his father. At the college level, and we were talking about this earlier, the role of coach takes on many different forms.
Yeah, many different forms. I lost my parents, started my sophomore year. Coach Smith and the Carolina family were there for me to throw a warm blanket of support around me, and that's exactly what this Tech family has done for their 2 players. Sometimes it's best to be out here battling on the court with your teammates and make you forget about some of the things going on in your personal life. It's a little escape for me, I'm sure. Having his teammates, having this coaching staff, having the support system that Coach Stoudemire has developed here has been helpful for these young men.
(74-49), 7:40 to go. Georgia Tech has been in control throughout. Bench production's been a factor again. Dongo with the 4 fouls. Too much, and Venning gets the rebound. Thought about bringing it up. Now Beadle.
Dongo didn't get his offensive game going today. He went in there against Chad Venning and hit a roadblock. He got bounced to the baseline. But I like the way he attacked the basket. He's doing the other things to help his team today.
Let's see if Venning goes right at Dongo, who's got the 4 fouls. He does. And there's the soft, feathery touch.
Well, with a little power, too, though. Got into the chest of Dongo before he went to the finesse shot. That I like.
13 for Venning, 9 in the second half. Dongo at the other end. Venning came over to help, but too late.
Yeah, you let him go to his high percentage shot. Left shoulder turn, right hand hook for a young big. That's a rhythm shot. That's a confidence shot.
Foul on George. We will step aside. 6:44 to go. The Yellow Jackets up by 25. Boston College under Earl Grant won 20 games a season ago, something they hadn't done in some time. You win 20 games. It was Grant's third season a year ago. Then you lose your entire starting five. Quinton Post, you were prepared for, second-round pick of the Warriors. The other four all transferred out. And when we spoke to Earl Grant about losing that kind of talent, when it feels like you're on the cusp of building something, he said, listen, there's a new business model in college basketball and in college sports, and he equated it to having one approach and one way of doing things for so many years. And if you're in the real world, that might have been, let's say, 1975 to 1993, and then you get this World Wide Web thing that pops up, and you've got to adjust. You've got to adjust your business model. And he said they've had to take a hard look at their business model in terms of their calendar. When and how are you looking at the next wave of reinforcements? How many guys can you keep on a year-to-year basis? And you have to be proactive in the transfer portal. You're going to lose guys. It happens to everybody.
Yeah, not selling encyclopedias door to door anymore. You got to be able to change with the times. And I love his positive attitude. We talked a little bit about the hard work. When hard work wins, when you work hard.
Hard work works.
Well, hard work works. Thank you. As I couldn't get that out succinctly, but the other thing that he said is having positive attitude. And I think as a coach, sometimes your players will take on that same sort of personality. And no, it didn't work out for them tonight, but they're not going to hang their heads just losing one game on the road. You know, they're going to put some time in the lab before they get back to their next game, and they'll have a better effort the next time that they come on the floor. So that as a player, I appreciate that in the coaching staff. Like, hey, don't beat us down, lift us up. And that's what he does with his players.
And he talks about how his philosophy for so long and what he excelled at his previous stops, player development. And we even saw that at Boston College, where the team he inherited, year one, they win 13 games, then 16. They were 9-11 in year two in ACC play, and then 20 games last year. And for the guys who stayed, you developed them. But he said now you have to look at it as development and acquisition. And you have to be selective because, guys are going to go looking for greener pastures. And as long as we're still living in this frontier world of college sports, where what is in the best interest of the players and what is in the best interest of the game, as of right now, those are two trains moving in separate directions. There may be a tipping point at some point. We're not there yet. But you have to figure out what kind of train station you're going to be to make the model work in its current form. That's a challenge. Yeah. Some coaches don't want any part of it. But for the guys who are in the game and want to be in the game, they're trying to figure out, hey, what's the sweet spot where you can still be competitive, even though it's harder and harder to keep your culture and build your roster from one year to the next.
Yeah, but the responsibility of these coaches is to build strong young men, not only just basketball players, but strong young men. And you see that Earl Grant has got that philosophy that, hey, I want the best for these guys, whether it's in my program or outside my program or in the real world. And that's number one.
He has been a winner at pretty much every stop. Successful at the College of Charleston. Was a Clemson assistant under Brad Brownell. Was at Wichita State with Greg Marshall.
How about that move by Benning along the baseline? That's been his most athletic move all night, but then he'll get back on the baseline and protect their baseline and give up the slam the other way. But Chad Benning showed me something. Tight rope in the baseline and went underneath the basket for the reverse lay.
He's calling for it. Strong instead will fire and hit from deep.
Well, that's what I was saying about this BC team, right? They're not looking at the scoreboard now. This is an opportunity in his final 4 minutes and 20 seconds to get better. And that comes from their coach. You're not beating them down during timeouts. He's imploring them to continue to work hard. They might need this kind of an effort late in the game on the road later in the season.
Another lob down low. It hits the rim, and one guy could be beneficial for, who is on the floor for BC, is 10 in red, the freshman point guard Luka Taves. Now, they want to get him in there. They think there's a bright future there. George, no good. These are valuable reps for a young man they hope can be a key piece in conference play.
Coach Grant spoke highly of him. He says this guy's earning his opportunities. I'm not giving him opportunities. He says he shows up every day with a positive attitude, and that's why he's on the floor playing.
Strong commits the foul. We go to the under 4 media timeout. Georgia Tech has been on one today, up by 19 at home against BC in the finale of a 5-game homestand. We have an ACC Network triple header next Saturday. Clemson, currently unbeaten in conference play, will host Florida State and Littlejohn. Then it's UNC and NC State in Raleigh. Finally, Virginia Tech and Cal at 6 p.m. It's all on ACCN. McCollum has been the leading scorer for Georgia Tech, but contributions from everywhere. And again, it's the bench. They had 44 in the win against Notre Dame last time out. McCollum and Powell were a big part of that. And again, the bench production, especially in this day and age, you get 30-plus points from your bench from two guys. That goes a long way.
Yeah, 33 points off of that line. They're doing a fantastic job. I love the fact they got 42 points in that painted area, win that battle of the paint. And then they're picking their spots from behind the arc. They're just casting up 25 threes tonight. They're 8 of 16 from behind the arc for 50%. So just a nice balanced game all around.
Yeah, they came in shooting 34% as a team from three. 20-point game. Beadle out of control, turns it over. Exclamation point.
Everybody get out of my way. Clear out this left side for me here. And I'm going to take this thing baseline and rise up and throw it down. Look at the energy on the bench. They love it. Now that's why you push all the weights in the weight rooms. When you go over there and the big guy tries to challenge you at the basket, you just thunder it right over the top.
How about the fact that the only guy who didn't have an expression was Terry?
Yeah.
Very matter of fact, even after the dunk.
Yeah, Bonzi Wells and I were talking before the game, and he was one with the most expression on that floor. Boy, was he was a little tight before the game, too. And he's loving it now.
Taves with the sweet jumper.
All smiles on that Georgia Tech bench. And why not, right? Like, hey, that's why you worked so hard in practice. That's why you did all those dirty things in practice defensively. So you could come out here and hold Boston College to 45% shooting, they're under 40% from behind the arc. And that number's gone up here in the last couple minutes just because they have kind of turned off the gas.
The extra pass, and they're trying to feed Soiree, who has done most of the dirty work tonight.
Yeah, I like this young man right here. You know, he didn't get that one to go. He got smacked upside the head, taking an extra moment down there. Look at the pass underneath. They're trying to spoon feed the big down there. He's been doing such a good job blocking the shots, setting the picks, being a roadblock on defense, trying to reward him on the offensive end, late stages of this basketball game. That shows me a team that doesn't care about who gets the credit. They just want to make sure everybody gets opportunities. You know, we mentioned the 4 guys in double figures. George out there approaching his career high in assists with 9, looking for 10. That's a team that's connected. And when you got a team connected, like the way this Georgia Tech team is, they're tough to beat.
What do you take away from these last 2 games for Georgia Tech? Because they looked nothing like that prior to this.
Well, sometimes you just got to stay with it. You mentioned all the guys that are out with injuries.
This was a team that gave up 100-plus in a loss to North Florida early in the season.
Yeah, 5 different starting rotations. It just takes a minute to get everybody to understand their roles. The kid Duncan Powell from Sac State, he's got to come up and see how he fits in. You get all these guys that are replacing guys that are normally out there playing. How aggressive am I supposed to be? How passive am I supposed to be? And it takes a moment to figure out that right recipe. And even Coach Stoudemire, good look at him there. He's got to figure out how to maximize guys' strengths. Put them in a position where they can be successful out there on the floor. Here, game 15, they're firing on all cylinders.
The injuries have been real. Reeves, Amuchekwa, O'Brien, all currently out. Amuchekwa, not an injury-related issue. It's personal. He's missed now 5 games in a row. McCollum missed 4 games after a concussion. You had Mutombo, who was absent from the team in the early part of the season, dealing with the death of his father.
Yeah, he missed a month. So it's just taking these guys a moment, right? Like to figure it all out.
Clock at 5. McCollum, and stays with him. McCollum puts it up. It's blocked, and that is a shot clock violation. And for BC, then, you got to hit the reset button. Flat first half against Miami. They responded in the second half. They have a week off to get settled before Syracuse comes to town.
And they'll figure it out. I'm so impressed with the time I had with Coach Grant this morning that I am 100% confident next time that they step on the floor, they'll be a better version of themselves. I got a guaranteeing victories, but they'll have a better energy, a presence, maybe a bit more connectivity. Couldn't seem like they could ever really get their 2 stars early part of this game off the launch pad. I'm talking about Hand and the big fella Venning, thank you, to really kind of get them going, and that hurt the overall offensive production in the first half. But defensively too, they got to figure out a better way to start keeping their opponents out of the paint.
Yeah, Hand especially, just an off game for him. He's been so good this year. 6 points on 2 of 7 shooting. McFarland left with 3 short. McFarland's high school team. He had Zay Flowers, who's a wide receiver now with the Ravens, played at BC.
Outstanding wide receiver.
Scotty Barnes.
Kidding me?
ACC Rookie of the Year, then went on to be the NBA Rookie of the Year as well.
That's a high school squad right there. They got to be state champs, right?
At least once, right?
Well, this has been fun, partner. I know it wasn't the close game that we wanted, but it has been a real impressive show by Georgia Tech. And what I take away from this the most, these teams in the ACC realize we're going to have to compete hard. And I think that tonight the harder working team won this basketball game.
We saw it in the league last year, and they didn't get credit for it come Selection Sunday when the reality was teams like Pitt and Wake Forest were bona fide NCAA tournament level teams. But we saw teams get better in league play in season. And often the narrative is already written once you get through non-conference play. And so the narrative against the ACC right now, it's not great. It doesn't mean these teams can't get better and can't improve, and we might be watching one in front of our eyes here in Georgia Tech.
I agree with you 100% there. They get a nice hand there. We've got Terry going off for his efforts tonight. He was absolutely fantastic. He had 9 points. He wasn't really doing a lot in the second half. He just came out more determined, and that lead really ballooned off of his efforts to 20 points, just being aggressive, taking it hard to the basket.
Tested 3 by Strong, didn't find any iron. Shot clock inside of 10. Taves, the drive, the kick, Venning. Again, a little too much finesse. Taves getting in there almost to knock it away. And at Georgia Tech can now dribble out the clock. It has been almost 2 years since Georgia Tech won back-to-back ACC games by double digits. David Stoudemire's team